The sun rose over Earth like it had for billions of years. But today was different. Today, humanity faced its greatest threat. Commander Alex stood at the main window of Space Defense Station Alpha, looking at the blue planet below. His hands were clasped behind his back and his face showed no emotion. But inside, his heart raced with worry. "They're coming closer, sir," said Officer Ben, who sat at the radar station. "The alien ships will reach Mars orbit in 3 hours." Alex nodded. He had hoped this day would never come. First contact with the Voidborn 6 months ago had started with promise but quickly turned into a nightmare. The aliens had not come in peace. "Any word from the United Nations?" Alex asked. "Yes, sir. The Security Council has given you full authority to speak for Earth," Ben replied, his voice tight with stress. The room fell silent. 20 men and women worked at their stations, monitoring screens and checking systems. They were the best of the best, chosen from every nation. Now, the fate of 8 billion people rested on their shoulders. "Open a channel when they're in range," Alex ordered, "and make sure our message reaches every corner of Earth. People have a right to know what's happening." Officer Lisa at the communications station nodded. Her fingers moved quickly over the keyboard. "Channel ready in 1 hour, sir." Alex walked to his private office. The small room had only a desk, a chair, and a picture of his family. He touched the photograph gently. His wife and son were in an underground shelter, along with millions of others. Would they ever see the sun again? The door opened, and General Rob entered. The old soldier's face was grim. "Is Project Omega ready?" Alex asked without turning around. "Yes," Rob answered. "But you know what using it means. There's no coming back from that decision." Alex finally turned to face him. "I know, but if it's the only way to save our world, I'll give the order. The President wanted me to remind you. Diplomacy first." "Always," Alex agreed. "But we'll be ready if diplomacy fails." 3 hours passed quickly. The massive alien fleet had reached Mars and had stopped there, as if gathering strength for the final approach to Earth. Alex stood in the command center, now joined by science advisor Dr. Mark and military strategist Colonel Jane. The large screen in front of them showed the alien fleet, hundreds of ships, each larger than anything humans had ever built. "Channel open, sir," Lisa announced. "They're responding." The screen changed, showing the alien commander. The Voidborn looked almost like shadows with form, tall, dark figures with eyes that glowed like distant stars. Their leader, who called himself Draws, spoke in a deep voice that the translation computers had learned to understand. "Humans of Earth," Draws said, his words echoing through the station. "Your time has ended. Surrender your world to us, and we will allow some of you to live as our servants. Resist, and you will all perish." Alex stepped forward. His voice was steady when he replied, "We welcome peaceful contact with all species, but we will not surrender our home. Earth belongs to humanity." Draws made a sound that might have been laughter. "Your weapons cannot harm us. Your technology is primitive. What choice do you have?" "There is always choice," Alex answered. "We ask you to leave our system in peace." The alien's glowing eyes seemed to burn brighter. "To show you our power and the futility of resistance, watch." The screen split, showing one of the alien ships moving toward Phobos, the small moon of Mars. A beam of light shot from the ship and struck the moon. In seconds, Phobos cracked, then shattered into thousands of pieces. Gasps filled the command center. Dr. Mark whispered, "The energy required to do that, it's beyond anything we can produce." Draws spoke again. "That is one small ship. We have hundreds. You have 1 day to surrender, or we will do the same to your moon, causing devastating tides and disasters on your world. Then we will come for Earth itself." The screen went dark. Silence filled the room until Colonel Jane spoke. "Sir, if they destroy our moon—" "I know," Alex said. He pressed a button on the control panel. "This is Commander Alex to all Earth governments. You've seen what they can do. We need to make a decision now. Within an hour, leaders from around the world had gathered in a virtual meeting. The discussion was brief. Everyone had seen the destruction of Phobos. The threat was clear. We cannot surrender, the president said finally. But conventional weapons will not stop them. Commander Alex, you have authorization to inform them of Project Omega. Alex nodded grimly. He returned to the command center, where the team waited for orders. Open the channel again, he said to Lisa. Broadcast to their fleet and to all of Earth. When the alien commander appeared on screen again, Alex spoke clearly and firmly. Draws of the Voidborn, this is humanity's only warning. Throughout our history, we have faced extinction many times. From ice ages, from asteroids, from our own weapons. Each time we survived. We will survive you too. Alex paused, letting his words sink in. We have watched your kind for longer than, we understand what you are and what you've done to other worlds. If you continue this war, you will face a response unlike anything your kind has ever witnessed. Empty threats, Draws replied. Your primitive species cannot harm us. Alex nodded to Dr. Mark, who pressed a series of buttons. The screen changed to show technical details of Project Omega, a weapon capable of tearing apart the fabric of space itself. This device can create a rupture in space-time that will destroy everything within the orbit of Jupiter. We built it as a last resort against extinction. If you force our hand, we will use it. For the first time, the alien commander was silent. You would destroy yourselves? Draws finally asked. If necessary, yes, Alex answered. We would rather die free than live as slaves. You have 6 hours to begin leaving our system. After that, we will consider your actions a continued act of war, and we will respond accordingly. The transmission ended. Now all they could do was wait and hope the aliens believed their warning. Alex looked again at Earth through the window. Would this be the last day it existed as humans knew it? Only time would tell. 6 months earlier, the International Space Station floated silently in Earth's orbit. Inside, astronaut Jack floated near the large observation window, his eyes fixed on the stars. He had been in space for 3 months now, but the view still took his breath away. Still daydreaming? A voice called from behind him. Jack turned to see scientist Morgan pushing herself through the narrow corridor. Her dark hair was tied back in a practical bun, and she carried a tablet computer. Not daydreaming, Jack said with a smile. Just thinking about how small we are in this big universe. Morgan nodded. Well, speaking of the universe, I need your help with something strange. She handed him the tablet. Our deep space sensors picked up unusual energy readings beyond Neptune. Nothing natural makes patterns like these. Jack studied the screen, his smile fading. The readings showed regular pulses of energy, too regular to be natural. How long has this been happening? 3 days, Morgan replied. Mission Control wants us to focus our instruments on that area and gather more data. For the next week, Jack and Morgan worked with the rest of the station crew to monitor the strange signals. The energy readings grew stronger each day, moving closer to Earth. Whatever it is, it's heading our way, Jack said during a video call with Earth. On the screen, the serious face of intelligence officer Tom looked back at them. We're tracking it too, Tom said. The president has called an emergency meeting of world leaders. This could be it. First contact with an alien civilization. 2 days later, the mysterious object appeared near Jupiter's orbit. It wasn't one ship, but many, a fleet of massive vessels unlike anything humans had built. The largest was the size of a small city. The world held its breath. Military forces went on high alert, but no hostile actions came from the alien fleet. Instead, a message arrived, broadcast on all frequencies in perfect English. People of Earth, we are the Voidborn. We come from a star system you call HD 4307. We seek peaceful exchange of knowledge and resources. The message played over and over. World leaders debated how to respond. Finally, a reply was sent, welcoming the Voidborn and inviting them to send representatives to Earth. I don't like it, Tom said during a private call with Jack and Morgan. Why would they learn our languages before making contact? And why bring such a large fleet for a peaceful mission? Maybe that's just how they travel, Morgan suggested. Or maybe they're cautious like us. 3 alien ships separated from the main fleet and moved toward Earth while the rest remained near Jupiter. When they reached Earth orbit, smaller shuttles descended to a prepared landing area in neutral territory, a large field in Switzerland. The world watched as the shuttles landed and the alien visitors emerged. The Voidborn were tall beings with dark skin that seemed to absorb light. Their eyes glowed like distant stars, and they moved with a fluid grace that seemed almost unnatural. The first meetings went well. The Voidborn spoke of sharing technology and knowledge. They claimed their civilization was millions of years old and had visited thousands of worlds. They offered to help humanity solve its biggest problems: disease, climate change, energy, shortages. Too good to be true, Tom muttered as he watched the broadcast from his office. Unlike most people, who were celebrating the peaceful contact, Tom felt uneasy. He had spent his career looking for hidden threats, and something about the Voidborn didn't add up. He began a secret investigation, working with a small team to monitor all communications between the aliens and Earth governments. For weeks, they found nothing unusual. Then one night they intercepted a message from the alien fleet near Jupiter, a message not meant for human ears. Tom rushed to the secure meeting room where the president and key advisors waited. His face was pale, and his hands shook slightly as he placed his computer on the table. "We've decoded their internal communications," he announced. "The Voidborn are not here for peaceful exchange. They've done this before, to at least 17 other worlds." He played the intercepted message. The alien voice spoke coldly about Earth's resources, about how the humans were primitive and easily controlled, about how this world would be harvested like the others. "Their real fleet is still hidden beyond our solar system," Tom continued. "These ships are just the advance force. Once they've gained our trust and learned our weaknesses, the main fleet will arrive." The room was silent for a long moment. Then, the president spoke. "How certain are you about this translation?" "Completely certain," Tom replied. "We've cross-checked it multiple ways." The next day, Earth's leaders confronted the Voidborn representatives with the evidence. For a moment, the aliens said nothing. Then their leader, who called himself Draaz, laughed, a chilling sound that made even brave men step back. "Clever humans," Draaz said, his voice deeper and colder than before. "You weren't supposed to discover our true purpose so soon. No matter, the outcome will be the same." All pretense of friendship vanished. Draaz's eyes glowed brighter as he spoke. "Your world is rich in resources we need. You can surrender and serve us, or you can resist and be destroyed. The choice is yours, but the result will be the same. Earth will be ours." Before anyone could respond, the alien representatives vanished, teleported back to their ships. The hour. 3 vessels in Earth orbit immediately moved away, heading back toward the main fleet. Within hours, the Voidborn ships near Jupiter began to move toward Earth. Their peaceful messages stopped. Instead came a simple demand: surrender or be destroyed. Earth's military forces prepared for battle, but everyone knew the truth. Humanity's weapons were no match for the alien technology. Scientists and engineers worked desperately to find a way to defend their world. In a secret facility deep underground, Project Omega, a weapon of last resort, was brought online. It had been developed years earlier, after the first faint alien signals were detected by deep space listening posts. No one had wanted to build such a terrible device, but fear of exactly this scenario had won out. Now, as the alien fleet approached, Mars Commander Alex stood in Space Defense Station Alpha, preparing to deliver humanity's response to the Voidborn threat. The fate of Earth hung in the balance, and time was running out. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a facility that officially did not exist, Engineer Pat worked tirelessly. Dark circles under his eyes showed he hadn't slept in days. Around him, dozens of scientists and engineers moved with quiet urgency, checking systems and running calculations. "How's the containment field?" Pat asked, not looking up from his computer screen. Quantum physicist Lee, who stood nearby examining a complex series of equations on a transparent board, replied, "Stable for now. But we're pushing the limits of what's possible." She tapped a formula with her marker. "If we increase the power beyond this point, I can't guarantee we can control the reaction." Pat finally looked up, rubbing his tired eyes. "We don't have a choice. The Voidborn fleet will reach Earth in less than 2 days." The heart of the underground facility was a massive chamber where Project Prometheus, humanity's ultimate weapon, had been under development for nearly 15 years. Most of the world's population had no idea it existed. Only top government officials and a select group of scientists knew the truth. On the other side of the room, the facility's director, Dr. Wilson, ended a video call with visible frustration. He walked over to Pat and Lee, his face grim. "The Voidborn have destroyed our lunar colonies," he announced. "Over 12,000 people were stationed there. There were no survivors." A heavy silence fell over the room. Then Lee asked, "The defense stations in Earth orbit?" "Gone too," Dr. Wilson replied. "They didn't even slow the aliens down." Pat slammed his fist on the desk. "Those monsters. We tried to welcome them, and they repay us with slaughter." Dr. Wilson nodded sadly. "The Global Council is meeting in 1 hour to decide whether to authorize Prometheus. I've been asked to explain exactly what will happen if we activate it." Lee turned to the large window that looked into the chamber beyond. Inside, a device that appeared deceptively simple sat on a platform. It was a sphere about 2 meters across, made of a strange, dark material that seemed to bend light around it. Various cables and tubes connected it to massive power generators. "If we activate Prometheus," Lee said quietly, "it will create a quantum tear in the fabric of spacetime. The tear will expand at near light speed, consuming everything in its path: matter, energy, even space itself. Within minutes, it will engulf the entire solar system out to Jupiter's orbit." "And there's no way to stop it once it starts?" Dr. Wilson asked, though he already knew the answer. "None," Lee confirmed. "That's why we built it here, in the deepest facility we could create. Not that it matters. Once activated, no depth of rock will protect anything." Pat turned back to his computer. "I'm running the final simulations now. The power requirements are enormous. We'll need to channel the entire output of 67 nuclear power plants around the world, plus the solar collectors in orbit." "Will it work against their ships?" Dr. Wilson asked. Pat nodded. "The tier doesn't care what it consumes, human, alien, or machine. Everything goes. Nothing we know of can survive it." "Including us," Lee added softly. 1 hour later, screens around the facility showed the emergency meeting of the Global Council. Leaders from every nation on Earth had gathered, some in person, others attending virtually. The discussion was brief but intense. "The Voidborn have shown their true intentions," said the Secretary General. "They've destroyed our outposts without warning or mercy. Their fleet continues to advance. Our conventional weapons can't stop them." "But to use Prometheus means the end of everything," another leader argued. "Earth, humanity, all life in our solar system, gone in an instant." The president spoke next. "We need to understand what we're facing. Dr. Wilson, what do we know about the Voidborn's plans for Earth?" Dr. Wilson appeared on the main screen. "Based on intercepted communications and analysis of their technology, we believe they intend to strip mine the entire planet. They will extract all valuable resources, including water and atmospheric gases. The process will leave Earth completely uninhabitable. As for humanity," he paused, "those not killed outright would be used as slave labor until they die." "So, either way Earth dies," the Secretary General said grimly. "The question is whether we die on our terms or theirs." After another hour of debate, the Council took a vote. The decision was made. Prometheus would be activated if the Voidborn did not withdraw. Earth would rather destroy itself than fall to alien conquerors. Back in the facility, Pat and Lee prepared the weapon for activation. A secure channel was established with Space Defense Station Alpha, where Commander Alex would deliver humanity's final warning to the Voidborn. "How long until the system is ready?" Dr. Wilson asked. 6 hours, Pat replied. We need to synchronize power flow from all global sources and perform final calibrations. Lee worked at a different station, programming the activation sequence. I've built in 3 verification steps, she explained. 3 different people will need to confirm the activation codes before Prometheus can fire. Dr. Wilson nodded. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. Outside the facility across the world, people huddled in shelters or watched the skies fearfully. Military forces mobilized, though everyone knew conventional weapons would do little against the alien technology. In space, the crew of Defense Station Alpha prepared to deliver humanity's ultimatum. Pat took a moment to look at a photo on his desk, a picture of his family at the beach, all smiling under a bright summer sun. He touched it gently. Whatever happens, he whispered. At least they'll never know what hit them. It will be quick. Lee overheard him. She placed a hand on his shoulder. We're doing the right thing. If we must go, we go together and we don't let them take our world. Dr. Wilson's voice came over the intercom. Commander Alex is ready to transmit our message. Everyone, watch your stations. If the Voidborn ignore our warning, we'll need to be ready. The room fell silent as all eyes turned to the screens showing the alien fleet. The dark ships hung in space like predators waiting to strike. In 6 hours, Earth would know its fate. Surrender, destruction by alien hands, or a final, desperate act of defiance that would end everything. Captain Riley crouched behind a fallen concrete wall, her rifle held tight against her chest. Around her, 20 soldiers waited in silence. They were covered in dust and dirt, and their faces showed exhaustion. But in their eyes burned a fierce determination. They're coming, whispered Miller, the team's scout. He had just returned from checking the road ahead. 3 of their walker machines and about 30-foot soldiers. Riley nodded. She had been fighting the Voidborn for 3 days now since they began landing troops on Earth. Her unit was one of many resistance groups hiding in the mountains, attacking alien forces when possible, and then disappearing again. Remember the plan, she said quietly to her team. We hit them fast. Focus fire on the lead walker's sensor array, then fall back to position Delta. We just need to slow them down and keep their attention on us. The soldiers checked their weapons one last time. These were not ordinary guns, but special electromagnetic pulse rifles developed in the weeks after the Voidborn's true intentions were revealed. They couldn't destroy the alien armor, but they could disrupt their systems temporarily. For Earth, Riley said simply. For Earth, the others echoed. They spread out among the ruins of what had once been a small mountain town. Now it was just another battlefield in humanity's desperate struggle for survival. The alien forces came into view, moving with cold precision. The walker machines stood 3 times as tall as a human, with multiple weapon arms and a round body that seemed to float above 6 spider-like legs. Behind them marched the Voidborn foot soldiers, their dark armor absorbing the sunlight. Riley waited until the lead walker passed the marked spot, then gave the signal. 20 EMP rifles fired at once, sending invisible pulses of energy at the target. The walker stumbled, its systems temporarily confused. The soldiers quickly shifted their aim to the Voidborn troops and fired again. Chaos erupted. The aliens had not expected resistance here. As some of their troops fell, the others took cover and began returning fire with weapons that shot beams of intense heat. Move! Move! Riley shouted, and her team began their planned retreat, firing as they went. They ran through prepared escape routes, splitting into smaller groups. The aliens followed, but the narrow mountain paths slowed their walkers and forced them to divide their forces. Miles away, in an underground command center, General Robb watched the battle through satellite imagery. Similar fights were happening across the globe, small human forces harassing the invaders, buying time for the final preparations. Riley's team has them distracted, he said to his staff. How many more hours do we need? 4 hours, sir, replied his aide. Project Prometheus will be ready then. Robb nodded grimly. Every minute we can delay them matters now. On a different screen, he could see larger battles raging in major cities. The Voidborn had established landing zones in strategic locations and were spreading outward. Human military forces fought bravely but were being pushed back everywhere. A message came in from Commander Alex on Space Defense Station Alpha. The Voidborn commander has requested another communication. Should I accept? Yes, Rob ordered. Keep him talking as long as possible. On the station, Alex once again faced the alien leader on the view screen. Draws appeared different now, more agitated, his glowing eyes flaring. Your resistance is pointless, the alien said. Yet you continue to fight when you cannot win. Why? It's what humans do, Alex replied calmly. We fight for our home. We have studied 17 other worlds before yours, Draws said. None fought so fiercely when defeat was certain. It is puzzling. Alex leaned forward. Maybe you should take that as a warning. Back on Earth, Riley's team had reached their fallback position, a hidden cave system equipped with supplies and communications gear. They had lost 3 people during the retreat, but had drawn many alien troops away from their main force. Base, this is Mountain Team, Riley reported over the secure line. We've delayed their eastern advance force. What's next? The reply came from General Robb himself. Good work, Mountain Team. Hold position for now. The final countdown begins in 3 hours. Riley's face showed no emotion, but her hand tightened. On the radio. She knew what final countdown meant. Project Prometheus would soon be activated. Understood, she replied. Then, turning to her team, get some rest. We move again in 2 hours. One of the younger soldiers, Adams, asked quietly, Is it true, Captain? About the weapon? Riley looked at each face in the dim light of the cave. These men and women deserved the truth. Yes, it's true. If the aliens don't withdraw, we'll activate Prometheus. Nothing will survive. Not them, not us, not anything in the inner solar system. So we're fighting just to die on our terms? Another soldier asked. We're fighting because the Voidborn need to learn a lesson, Riley answered firmly, that humans don't surrender, that if they force us to this point, we'll take them with us. The hope is that they'll realize this and withdraw before it's too late. In orbit, the alien fleet continued to deploy landing craft. But something was changing. The Voidborn commanders had expected an easy victory, but human resistance was fierce and coordinated. More importantly, their intelligence units had detected unusual energy readings from multiple points on Earth, massive power being channeled somewhere. Draws, in his command ship, reviewed the reports with growing concern. These readings make no sense. The humans cannot have weapons that require this much power. His science officer replied, The readings match nothing in our database from previous worlds, but they continue to increase. Whatever they're powering will be fully energized in approximately 3 Earth hours. Draws hesitated, something rare for his kind. Could it be a bluff? Unknown. But their resistance pattern suggests they are buying time for something. In the Prometheus facility, Pat and Lee made the final adjustments to the Doomsday device. The sphere now pulsed with a strange light that seemed to bend around it, distorting the air. Power flow is stable, Pat reported. All systems are ready. For activation, Dr. Wilson nodded solemnly. The World Council is meeting now for the final authorization. Commander Alex will deliver our last warning to the Voidborn shortly. Lee stepped back from the control panel and looked at the weapon they had created. I never thought we would actually use it, she said softly. I always believed it would just be a deterrent. None of us did, Pat replied. But here we are. The countdown to humanity's most dangerous response had begun. The next few hours would determine whether Earth and all its life would survive, or whether humans would take one final, defiant stand against those who sought to conquer them. Commander Alex stood alone in the communications room of Space Defense Station Alpha. The station was now nearly empty. Most of the crew had been evacuated to Earth hours earlier. Only a skeleton team remained, those who had volunteered to stay, until the end. Alex straightened his uniform and faced the main camera. In moments, he would deliver humanity's final message to the Voidborn. His mouth felt dry, and despite the station's controlled temperature, a cold sweat ran down his back. Officer Lisa entered the room. We're ready, sir, The channel is open to the Voidborn command ship and to all Earth broadcast systems. Alex nodded. How much time remains? 30 minutes until Project Prometheus reaches full power, Lisa replied. Her voice was steady, but her eyes betrayed her fear. Begin transmission, Alex ordered. The red light on the camera blinked on. Alex looked directly into it, imagining the alien eyes that would watch this message, and the billions of human eyes that would see it too. Draws of the Voidborn, and all others who may receive this transmission, I speak now for all humanity, Alex began. We have watched your forces destroy our lunar colonies and orbital stations. We have seen your troops landing on our world. Despite our warnings, you continue your invasion. He paused, drawing a deep breath. Therefore, I must deliver our final message. We would rather destroy ourselves than allow our world to be conquered. The device we are about to activate will tear apart the fabric of reality itself within our solar system. Alex pressed a button, sending the technical details of Project Prometheus to the alien fleet. This is not a bluff. In 25 minutes, we will activate this device. Nothing will survive. Not you, not us. Withdraw now, or face extinction alongside us. The transmission ended. Alex turned to Lisa. Now we wait. On Earth, in homes and shelters and battlefield positions, people watched the message with a mixture of fear and pride. Humanity would not surrender, even in the face of certain defeat. In the secret facility housing Project Prometheus, the final preparations were complete. Pat, Lee, and Dr. Wilson stood before 3 separate control stations. Each held a key that would need to be turned simultaneously to activate the device. Confirmation received from the Global Council, Dr. Wilson announced, reading the message on his screen. Authorization for activation is granted. Pat closed his eyes briefly. I never thought it would come to this. None of us did, Lee replied softly. But we're ready. In his mountain command center, General Robb watched satellite images of the alien fleet. Something strange was happening. Some of the smaller ships were changing position, moving away from Earth. Sir, his aide said urgently. We're detecting movement in the Voidborn fleet. Several vessels appear to be retreating. Robb leaned forward, hardly daring to hope. Get me a direct line to Space Defense Station Alpha. In orbit, the Voidborn command ship remained still while chaos erupted among the rest of the fleet. Inside, Draws faced his advisors. The human weapon cannot be real, one insisted. No species would destroy itself and its entire world to prevent conquest. We have analyzed their transmission, another said. The power readings match what our sensors have detected. If this device works as they claim, it will consume everything within the orbit of their gas giant Jupiter. Draws's glowing eyes dimmed, slightly as he considered. In all their conquests across 17 worlds, they had never encountered a species willing to commit such an act. Could we destroy the device before they activate it? He asked. Unknown, his military commander replied. We don't know its exact location, and it appears to be deep underground. Even our most powerful weapons might not reach it in time. Draws made his decision. Begin withdrawal of our landing forces. Move the fleet to a safe distance. On space. Defense Station Alpha. Alex received the incoming transmission from the Voidborn command ship. Draws's dark figure appeared on screen. Commander of Earth Forces, the alien said, his tone different than before. We have analyzed your weapon. You would truly use it, knowing it means the end of your species? Without hesitation, Alex replied firmly. Humans will die free before living as slaves. We have 15 minutes remaining before activation. Your fleet must be beyond Jupiter's orbit by then, or we proceed. For a moment, the alien was silent. Then, we will withdraw. But know this. Your world is now marked as too dangerous for harvest. No species has ever forced us to retreat. You are the first. Alex allowed himself a small smile. Then let that be the lesson you carry to the stars. Earth is not for taking. The transmission ended. Immediately, Alex called Dr. Wilson at the Prometheus facility. "They're withdrawing. Hold the activation sequence." Around the world, people watched in disbelief as the alien ships began rising from Earth's surface. The massive vessels in orbit turned away, their engines glowing as they accelerated. In the mountain cave, Captain Riley and her team received the news with stunned silence. Then cheers erupted, echoing off the stone walls. They had fought not just for a noble end, but for victory against impossible odds. At the Prometheus facility, Pat, Lee, and Dr. Wilson carefully powered down the device. The strange, reality-bending glow faded from the sphere. "Will we keep it operational?" Lee asked quietly. "In case they return?" Dr. Wilson nodded. "Project Prometheus will remain our last line of defense, but let's hope we never need to bring it this close to activation again." As the alien fleet passed beyond Mars, then Jupiter, Earth began the long process of recovery. Cities lay in ruins, millions had died, but humanity had survived, and had sent a message to the stars that would not soon be forgotten. 6 months later, on a rebuilt section of Space Defense Station Alpha, Commander Alex stood before representatives from all nations. A new detection system had been installed, capable of giving early warning should the Voidborn, or any other alien threat, approach again. "Today we remember those we lost," Alex said to the assembled leaders. "And we look forward to rebuilding our world. But we also must remember the lesson we taught the universe. Earth will never surrender." As he spoke, deep in the hidden facility beneath the mountains, Project Prometheus waited. Humanity's dangerous response, ready if needed, but hopefully never to be used again. The most powerful message sent to the stars had been Earth's willingness to use it, a message that had saved a world.